I have to ask the impact of these restrictions on your business and the sort of volume of interest that you're getting.
Well, certainly nationally it has had an impact, and we would share the sentiment that foreign buyers in certain pockets of the market is certainly not having any impact on the average Kiwi being able to afford a home. There are some areas of the country which have bucked the trend by virtue of how strong those markets are. For instance, the Lakes District is still a very buoyant market. But there is parcels of land which are subject to even greater sensitivity as the one you've just mentioned, and that does make the audience very, very narrow for such a property.
A bit about this property. What makes it so special?
Well, I think the images speak hugely about how picturesque its setting is, but it does sit on a large parcel of land, and that draws it into further considerations as to sensitivity. A lot of the time, if somebody is looking for a property in New Zealand, they're drawn to the great outdoors and the lovely open aspect and remoteness and sense of remoteness. So this is certainly a property that would appear to be ideal for a foreign buyer, but the sensitivity around the land itself limits that at present.
And the Queenstown Lakes District, what is so special about it and what appeals so much to foreign buyers?
Well, Queenstown's a true four-season town. It's wonderful all year round. It's got wonderful infrastructure. A lot of it is based around the great outdoors. There's an immense amount of cycle trails in the area. There's a wonderful ski season. There's deep glacial lakes, and it's incredibly picturesque. So there's really something for everybody, but in particular those who are drawn to the great outdoors, Queenstown's a very special place.
Myles, do you find with these foreign buyer restrictions, let me try that again, you're also getting less volumes of properties being available?
It is. One of the problems with restrictions around foreign buyers is it really limits the audience. And if we look at supply at the other end of the equation, that's often driven by developers being confident that there is a wide audience to sell to. So we've seen developers becoming a lot more tentative in terms of what supply they would endeavour to bring to the market. So it does, it's a bit of a chicken and an egg scenario, but we see it restricting supply in some respects as, really if the audience for any residential property in New Zealand is limited to New Zealanders, Australians and Singaporeans as it is at present, it's just a narrower market in which to sell product.
There's been some hope that under the current or their new government that there would be some loosening of these restrictions, and we do have the budget coming up at the end of the month. Do you have any sort of cautious hope or expectation that these policies might change?
Well, we think there's a very good argument that they should, in part. I think there's a conversation to be had around whether there's a threshold at which a change could take place that would essentially not have any great impact on grassroots health affordability, but also allow quite necessary foreign investment into the country, into our property market. So we'd remain optimistic on that at this stage.
And Myles, the general New Zealand property market at the moment is, I guess, puttering along. It's pretty subdued. How is it down in Queenstown? Is that holding up better?
Yeah, largely Queenstown has bucked the trend, and it's very much a post-COVID market that we're seeing. Traditionally in the past, if there is a property downturn, often it is the holiday home or the luxury type property holiday home that's the first to go or the one that's the most affected. But I think what we've seen now is people have readily identified that they can live in a more remote and picturesque part of the world and often conduct their business from there. So I think that's partly helped Queenstown buck the trend. Across the balance of the country, we've seen pockets of positivity, such as the first home buyer market has been really positive in recent times, and other pockets of the premium market. But certainly the mid-range of property or the property market in New Zealand is subdued at the moment, and that's of course because of interest rates being probably the key headwinds that we're encountering at present.
And Myles, just lastly, do you have any final, I guess, message to the government on the foreign buyer ban? What would you like to see happen?
Well, I personally have sold to offshore people who have been wonderful investors. Quite often they end up moving to our country and settling in, and the kids go to the local school and they become a part of the community. So it is a wonderful way to introduce the right people to the country. And also I think there's a broader equation to be discussed in and around the confidence that would be there in terms of supply for developers and investors looking to bring on board further housing supply to the country, that the ability to sell to a wider audience is something that would give such capable developers confidence. And I think essentially where we might land in a few years' time is very much in a position where we've been in the past, where the common conversation in the marketplace is that there is an undersupply of houses in New Zealand. And I think the government should look closely at whether the lifting of a foreign buyer restriction would in actual fact aid some of that supply equation.